Hey there, welcome back. One thing I wanted to do was an addendum to the arms blend space video. So one thing I didn't cover was strafing. I did talk about it at the beginning as, hey, once you're in the strafing state, we don't want to adjust the arms because they're already bent. So we come here, look at the arms here. So we can see, let's move this over. So we can see that this blend space is active and adjusting. So if we just get rid of it, change that to 0, compile, there we are. So we can see that the blend space is not active anymore. And that's a good thing because our strafe pose has our arms already bent. And we didn't do any offsets specifically for this pose. And we can do that. But I won't go through the method of creating poses. But let's go ahead and go through the method of if we wanted to do two things. One, not create poses and get rid of the arms, or basically set this to 0, which is the easiest thing. And then if we wanted to create poses and what that setup might look like. Okay, so first, we're just going to simply say, drag off this alpha. We're going to select here. I always like the wildcard better. You can use select float if you want. Is strafing. So is strafing true? And you can see right here, we want that to be 0. And if it's not true, we just want to pull these values in right here. So let's check that. So you can see how the blend space is already active. Then we go to strafing, and now it's not active. And we can see that here if we watch this value. So that's 0. And now it's 0.5. 0, 0.5, 0, 0.5. Okay. So, like I said, that was simple. That was painless. Again, you can use the select float here. No big deal. So if this is true, you're picking A. So that would be 0 here. If it's not true, then you're picking B. Then we drag in our values there. So it's to me, it's just not as straightforward as true or false. Pick A, pick B. So they're literally like an opposite setup. It's just kind of weird. So anyway, if we're gonna do that, what I would do is come here and because we don't want like my graph is already super dirty. What I'd want to do is just come here and create a new variable. So we'd promote this to a variable. We call this something clever, slope arms alpha. Then we'd go to the event graph. Probably just set breathing speed, set state alphas. That might be good. So just really quick, I'm going to paste that in here. We're going to pull this off and say set arms alpha, slope arms alpha, and then just drag that here. So now, same thing. Maybe this will be in scope. Compile, play. So if we watch that, we're getting a 0.5, and now it's 0. 0.5, 0. And then if we go back to our blend space, here we can watch this again. We can see the blend space turning on and off. There we are, 0.5. So that's great. So let's say, and I don't want to, but let's say that you had a project and you absolutely wanted to have these arms adjusting. So what we can do, I won't go through the method, like I said, of creating a whole new set of poses. But basically what you can do, oh, what the heck, let's do it. Okay, so we're gonna create a brand new blend space, but we need to do the same thing that we did on our other pose. So we're gonna idols, sword, and open that up. So here's our strafing pose. We're going to go to create asset, create animation from current pose. We're going to save that into our additives. Where is it? Slope. There it is. Tutorial, arm adjust. Let's just save that right there. We'll come back up. Arm adjust. We have our new pose here. What we're going to do is we're going to take this name, because this will be our center. Slope. Strafe. C. We're going to set that up to be an additive. Oh, I'm already in it. Okay, so let's come down here to asset details. Come over here to our additives. We're going to grab our animation. Let's say idle sword. That would be this one. And we're just going to use selected frame, frame 0. We're going to save that. Now we're going to create our different poses here. So again, we're going to duplicate this. We're going to say pitch -45. We're going to duplicate that one, say pitch 45. And we're going to duplicate these. All this roll -45. All this one roll 45. Then we're going to duplicate our slope. No need to recreate that. I'm going to say strafe. There we are. So I'm going to save everything. Open up our strafe. We're just going to, well, we could right click and just have that already selected and just pop everything in there. But I find it actually easier to just delete everything. Boom, boom, boom. -45 pitch. +45 pitch. -45 roll. +45 roll. And now our blend space is set up. Our poses aren't doing anything. So we just come here and make some quick adjusts. As soon as my brain turns on again, -45. So we know we're going backwards here. So -45 is this direction. Ooh, yeah, that one. Let's reset our rotation on our floor. We're going to go to selected view. Oops. Where am I? I'm lost. Let's move back over. and simulate. So it would be negative from what I recall from the last video. But let's look at our ABP, confirm. Yes, that's a negative pitch. So that's backwards. So this will be harder to test and simulate. But again, I think we're already in a good spot for our poses. So we're just going to create them. I want to say here, we're just going to do upper arm. I'm going to do the world view here. Here we are. Rotate backwards on our upper arms just a little bit. We're going to key. Then we're going to come to our positive pitch. I think I might have gotten that. Ha ha ha. No pun intended. Backwards. So in our positive pitch, we're going to rotate our arms backwards. And then on our negative pitch, we're going to rotate them forward. Key that. And then let's see here. We're in our roll now. Trying to remember, but why remember? So a positive roll is our right arm towards the incline. Let's save these. We're going to do our right arm here. We just want to do a slight, can't select that. There we are. Almost, there we are. Slight up. And then we'll just key that. Then, oops. Key that and just delete that. Our left arm for our negative roll, and just key that up a little bit. So we'll save that. Then what we'll do, come back to our Blendspace here. So let's see, how do we want to set this up? So I've got another blend space right here. So this is getting ugly here. What I'm going to do is duplicate this one. That way I just get my slope and roll values already piped in. I wonder, can we do a two-way blend? There we are. There we are. We're going to set these as a sync group. Call this slope. That way it kind of shares the same values. Once we change settings. And then here, I'm just going to drag off and say is strafing or not is strafing. Whoops. It is strafing. There we are. And then we'll just pipe that in there. And then it casts the bool and changes it into a float. So you get basically a bool is a 0 or 1, 0 is false. So that's our A, 1 is true, that's our B. So we stop this, pop this out. Let's rotate that floor a little bit. There we are. So floor is rotated. And we can see that as soon as I activate the correct one, we can see which blend space we're using. Okay. So now if I strafe, you can see that the blend space is turning off because we did that adjustment to the speed value in the alpha. Now our alpha is mapped to our speed. But if we have 0 speed, then the blend space is on. Hmm. Okay, so this is completely off because we're strafing. So what do we want? A 0.5 here. So our alpha here is turning off or going piping down to 0 if we're strafing. Because we just set that up at the beginning of this video. So let's try this again. Okay, not strafing. Now we are strafing. There we are. That's better. Okay, so now we have some slope warping values adjusting for our strafe too. So that's cool. And because I've done it, I'm just going to keep it. But what we can do is go back to this alpha here and find references. Oh, it's probably just right here. Okay, there we are. So again, we're saying if we're strafing, we're 0. We don't want to be 0, but let's remap it here. Let's say we don't want it to be 0.5 either. Let's say we want just a little bit. So let's say 0.25 of the poses that we created. And then when we're moving around, we want it to be 0 again. Okay, so compile, save that. And then we'll play. And then we can watch this value from here. So when we strafe, we go to 0.25. Now we're still getting something. You see those hands adjusting a little bit better. So that's nice. And then if we come back, look at our blend spaces. I leave it to you to clean up your own graph. I'll have to do the same here. I might drop this all into its own slope warping little anim layer here. Okay. Well, very cool. Very cool. So that's the arms working. And let's do a little bit of graph cleanup because I talked about it and now I want to do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new layer here. Let's go ahead and save this just in case I completely screw up something. So we're going to say new layer, slope warping. And we want an input. Usually what I do, just in case, I always cache this out. Call that input pose. So we're going to go back here. We're going to take all this stuff here, these two. We're going to cut. We're going to go to slope warping. Going to paste that here. And we're going to get our input pose cache right there. So now it's a little bit cleaner. I like to have this in order here. We're going to mark this up and say control rig root, and we'll probably do spine and head offsets. And this one is a blend space arm offset based on state and speed. Okie dokie. Get that nice and pretty. Okay. And then we'll bring in that linked graph. Sorry, our anim layer. And there we are. Clean this up. Just like that. So now we have a little bit of cleanliness to our graph. So cool. So that's us going through the adjusting the arms based off state and speed. So again, one final setup. So we've got our control rig, adjusting our root, spine, and head. I don't think we've done spine and head yet, but I think that's the intention. But we have our arms adjusting now with our blend spaces. And we have our alpha based on speed, and then we have our two-way blend based on what mode or what state we're in. So happy animating, if I can enunciate, happy animating out there, and enjoy the journey.